Hello, everyone, and welcome to PAconnect VOICE, our webinar on cloud-managed unified communications. Nice to meet you all. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Ken.
This is Ken. And we are, I'm a service manager here at the company, and Ken is our senior network engineer. And today we're going to be going over our cloud unified communications solution. So we're going to get right into it. Talk a little bit about who we are. So we were founded in 1981, and PAconnect is a managed services provider and systems integrator. Well, what does that mean exactly? What that means is that we design custom-tailored solutions to our clients by providing consulting services from the inception of the business to opening day and ongoing managed solutions. So we begin by helping you, wire your facility, your building, laying out the design documents, getting all that kind of stuff in order, and we'll help you through your IT needs all the way to opening day. Get you the phone system up ahead of time, get all your security put in place, your door access controls, your camera systems, building security, set you up with the server and computers, managing all that for you, as well as once you open, we have help desk and monitoring solutions for continued ongoing support. We also assist with your backup and disaster recovery solutions. And of course, what we're here to talk about today is that management of the unified communications. So we're going to get right into it, and we're going to talk about the current problems with current PBX solutions. One of the biggest issues with PBX solutions today is they lack support updates, and the hardware for them no longer exists if you get into a big problem and need to replace a piece of hardware on one of those old systems. So, being able to support current PBXs is becoming increasingly difficult.
Now, with that said, do we have a security risk in companies when they can't update their systems anymore?
Oh, absolutely. With modern threats and threat vectors coming from every angle, the security risk, you want to be able to have some of those modern features on some of the older systems, and some of them do have updates, but you have to plug them into your network. And when you physically plug that old system into your network, it becomes an innate security risk. Right there, because it's completely out of date. The hardware or the software loaded onto the hardware is out of date, and you're exposing yourself to the internet. So it's something you really don't want to do with some of those old equipment, because you could hackers could potentially get in, come through the phone system, and gain access to your network that way.
And I bet you, besides security, I bet you there's a lot of other limitations that we can talk about right now.
Oh yeah, old PBX systems. You have no remote access on them. Trying to connect a remote phone. If you're trying to connect a remote phone to an old phone system, it's increasingly difficult. Trying to traverse getting through the firewall and all your perimeter security, it's nearly impossible, especially with the old digital or analog phone systems. So there's no remote access. You can't work from home. You can't take your phone with you. One of the biggest issues. Call capacity limitations. A lot of old PBXs, they're limited to how many lines you can bring into them. So, a lot of them are 4 lines, 8 lines. Some of the bigger ones have 12 and 16, but you're limited to that. Same with the number of phones you can put on. You have these capacity limitations. And when you can't get the hardware upgrades, like we talked about earlier, you can't get upgrades, you experience these. And a lot of current PBXs, as these businesses are growing and the companies are developing, they're starting to hit these more and more. Where it's getting more increasingly difficult to get the replacement parts, it's getting increasingly difficult to expand, and you're locked into this hardware that you can't get out of.
And what happens on times when the expansion is needed in a company today, and they have one of the other solutions that are like this?
Well, you replace the whole phone system.
Okay.
You just rip out what you have and you put a whole new one in place, and you're going to pay, tens of thousands of dollars up front for some of these phone systems, especially some of the bigger ones. A small business phone system can be anywhere, from $5,000 to $7,000 for a modern, more supported system with all your hardware and everything else to go with it. So they're very, intensive cost.
Do they also have a limitation on features that they currently have with the older phone systems?
Absolutely. no ability to forward to cell phones is a big one. I mean, and as we begin to work from home and work remotely, that's becoming more and more of a pain point for a lot of people. A lot of people are used to transcribing voicemails on their cell phone, things like that. Old phone systems aren't going to have that voicemail to email or transcription, anything like that.
Does it seem like on my cell phone where I can get a transcription when it comes from my carrier?
Exactly. And more people are coming to expect that. No remote access. Say a winter storm hits and you want to throw up a quick recording on your phone system that says, hey, storm has hit and we're closed for the day. You have no remote access to your phone system to make those changes. And so, or some do have access and they're really convoluted access in order to change those things. So, you have no remote access and then, no conferencing system. As we begin to connect more and more, we expect these conferencing systems, and there's the built-in system. You're oftentimes getting an outside conferencing software like Zoom or GoToMeeting or something like that.
Right. A lot of the meetings over the last couple of years that we've seen has all been on Zoom and other platforms like that.
Exactly. We've gotten so used to those. So, but it'd be nice to have one in-house, right? So, that's where we come in. PAconnect VOICE. VOICE is an all-inclusive solution to meet modern business telecommunication needs. PAconnect VOICE is not your average phone system. And I have to repeat that. We are not your average phone system. It's a complete unified communications platform solution. And what does that mean? What is unified communications? Well, unified communications is a platform where you're bringing in all the different ways of communicating with your business into one single umbrella. You've got, Facebook and SMS and chat, website, and internal chatting, conference calling, all these different ways to bring them into one umbrella and have that under a unified communication. So, the traditional PBX is that's gone. And, we now have these new systems that sort of been relabeled as what we call UC communication platforms. So, some of the biggest things here is fears. Fears of VoIP. This is a serious concern for a lot of businesses to get into what exactly, how's this going to impact our business? So the biggest thing is fear of unknown costs.
I think it's also a fear of change. You have so many people that have been with the normal PBX systems and trying to change that or change all the system in the company at one time. They're like, well, we've done business like this for 10 years.
Yeah.
Why do I need to change? What benefit will this give my business in the future?
Well, not only that, you also have the fear of VoIP. Isn't VoIP quality bad? Haven't I heard that VoIP quality sounds terrible?
Yes, we always hear that VoIP quality. Everybody's afraid of the word. Mm-hmm. You say the word VoIP and everybody goes, oh my God, no.
Oh yeah, oftentimes when I go for an on-site to talk to businesses about VoIP connections, we go with the present that we're selling a phone system. And when I say the word VoIP, I do sometimes see that hesitation of pull back. Like, oh, this is a VoIP system, So that is a big fear.
So tell everybody what they've actually been using for a long time now.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into that here in a minute. But the other thing is the PBX is not on site, and so what happens if someone hits a telephone pole outside? What happens if something goes wrong and you need to access the PBX, or you have no internet and then suddenly you have no phone access? And it's a legitimate concern. It's one of the biggest ones. And, we definitely have ways of combating that. So we're going to answer some of those fears. Okay. We have a fixed cost solution. So, our solution is based on the fixed cost of the number of endpoints. So if you have 10 phones, you have 20 phones, you have 30 phones, there's a tiering scale that goes with that. And we find oftentimes that most of our clients, this isn't all, but most of our clients either pay the same as their current phone bill, just their phone bill, right? Slightly more, or underneath what their current phone bill is. So, the majority of our customers fall in that same as or just barely above, but they're getting an entirely new solution for that same cost that they're already paying. I mean, it's they're used to it, and that's just for their phone lines.
Oh, what we're seeing out there is a lot of companies have 10 phone lines coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And with the 10 phone lines or 10 actual numbers attached to
Mm-hmm.
one for each one of those lines. And they're paying a cost for every one of those lines that come in. And even with the 10 lines that they have, sometimes they use more or need more.
Oh, absolutely. And so, they can often end up paying, maybe they'll use 3 or 4 lines for a couple months out of the year, or for most of the year. And then they need 10 to 15 lines for just that 2 or 3 month part that they have all their business coming into them. Well, they're
Right.
paying, an extra $400 or $500 a month, and you can't call your ISP and have them shut those lines down, every few months. They're not going to like that very much. So, that's one of the things, we're going to handle for you is you don't have to worry about that. Everything's included, and it's one low fixed cost for that. So, quality of voice is the second thing we talked about. And most people don't realize this, but they have been on VoIP for well over 10 to 15 years, depending on your ISP.
No.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, your ISP knows the way of voice, right? They
Yes.
know what they've been doing for the past, 10, 15 years. And so they're bringing a VoIP line into your business and then breaking that out using a piece of hardware that makes them look like traditional lines. And so you've been using VoIP for 10 or 15 years, not even realizing.
And the quality has been fine, but I've been always
Absolutely.
told that it's actually solid lines running back.
See, when it comes down to VoIP and the quality, it's about proper implementation, proper design, and making sure that the networks are prepared for that. And it's honestly about making sure that you've got network engineers who know how to work with this type of communication and these types of networks, so that your network is properly prepped for VoIP. And we find more often than not, it's very easy to go into any current or modern network and adjust it so that it's prepared for VoIP very easily. It's not difficult at all to do. And the last thing is always online. So you're worried about that telephone pole going down, but what you don't realize is that there's so many different ways to access the phone system that line going down or that telephone pole getting hit is the least of your worries. I mean, it's often on the top of people's minds, but having the phone system in the cloud allows you to always be online and always be available. If your telephone pole gets hit, you lose electricity, you lose connectivity. What's going to happen to the phone calls? They're going to go dead, right? Either service disconnected or temporarily unavailable or whatever the ISP is going to handle.
We get that call from a lot of other customers that call in, and sometimes they call in and say, well, the phone pole went down. We're going to be down for 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we were told.
Yeah.
So with PAconnect VOICE, we can do better than that.
Absolutely. You lose electric to the building, your phone system remains online. Those calls are still coming in. You can still see the missed calls. You can still see everything. But more than that, you can connect to it utilizing your cell phone, your iPad, in any of your BYOD devices. You can access the PBX. You can access your account, pick up those calls, make the calls, and ensure that you're connected. And if you don't, you have fallback cellular access. So one thing we've been seeing a lot of businesses doing now is installing these fallback cellular access systems. And so if your primary internet goes down, nothing we do about the electricity, but your primary internet goes down, we can at least bring you back up on a backup internet connection.
I think everybody's used to working with their cell phone. Applications now are just the norm for everybody out there, and being able to answer calls on your phone. If you lose your main business phones down there and not miss a call, you don't miss any business.
Exactly. And we're going to go over it a little bit later, just how easy it is to, set some of this stuff up. And if in the event something would happen, you can very quickly gain that access. So the other thing we want to talk about, other than fears of VoIP, what additional things are you paying for right now that you really don't have to be paying for? So, the pandemic brought, work from home and remote work, and a lot of companies started paying for Zoom or GoToMeeting or some of these other web conferencing systems. With PAconnect VOICE, the web conferencing is built into it. You don't have to continue to pay for Zoom or GoToMeeting or anything like that. You get that built right in. So right now, businesses are paying a couple $100 a year for some of these solutions.
They are, and since we're on web conferencing, how are we producing this show right now?
Well, we're actually utilizing the web conferencing system in the phone system to present this to everyone else right now.
So we're using it right now.
We're using exactly what we're saying.
See?
So on hold music is another one. And some people don't consider this, a big problem. It's more of a problem most people think it is. When you're on the phone and you're talking to a company and they put you on hold and you get dead air, it's jarring, isn't it?
If I call a company and they say, "Oh, hold on a minute," and there's nothing in the background, I kind of feel that they've left me, of like I've lost the call.
Yeah, it does.
And I don't know if I should sit there or should I call them back.
Especially if you're sitting on hold for 2 or 3 minutes, right? You're like, did this call end? Am I just in limbo? Should I hang up? Should I call back? You're never sure. And so, other companies will pay for really expensive on-hold music systems, and pay for licensing and some other stuff to go with it. So either you put a great expense into an on-hold music system, or you don't have it at all, and neither of those are good places to be. And then digital receptionists. You've got, when you call into a company and you want to talk to them, the first thing you hear, unless they're picking up the phone directly, is the digital receptionist, right?
Yes.
And so a lot of times you're going to have the customer recorded digital receptionist, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's some great recordings out there for customer side recorded ones. And then you have the professional ones. When you call the bigger companies and you have that professional recording, how does that make you feel when you hear a professional done recording versus a just plain old recorded one?
When I hear a professional recording, I know that the business took the time to care about the people that are calling in. And it makes me want to do more business with that company.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It instills a little bit of faith in the company right away. You understand you're dealing with a professional. And that's really important to any business, is that you do present yourself, especially in your first form of contact with anybody, in a very professional manner. And so a proper digital receptionist recording can be the definitive between those two things. Okay. The last thing is, and this is a surprising one, honestly, how many telecom companies, and I'm not talking, the bigger ones, the national ones, but there's a lot of local telecom companies that are still charging for long distance calling.
And that is completely unbelievable. The day was that you could call your next door neighbor and they were on a different line as far as out of your county. And they would charge you long distance to call your neighbor.
Yeah.
With the cell phone, where it came up where you call anywhere in the United States or Canada for no extra money, but local carriers I still see trying to charge that extra amount for calling a different area code.
They do. And it is honestly surprising the amount of carriers that do that. And so a lot of companies are still paying for this long distance calling, even though you're calling, 10 miles down the road. It's considered, and it doesn't make sense. So with PAconnect VOICE, you get unlimited. You can call anywhere in the U.S., all 50 states, and we even include, which you're not going to get this in a lot of other places, we include 100 minutes of international calling in the event you need to call Canada, Mexico,
100 minutes,
or Germany. Yes, we give you 100 minutes of international calling. Like I said, to the other popular places, Germany, Europe, Mexico, Canada, where a lot of businesses work out of, that all comes included. So, why pay for those? And so this is where we come in. This is how we can help you transform your business, transform your communications, and how we can help bring you into the future. And so we start by giving you a fully managed and monitored solution. And so we handle all of your troubleshooting, all of your changes, everything, all within that one fixed price. We want you to call in. We want you to tell us when you need these changes. It's important that your telecommunications, your communications with your customers are handled very efficiently, right? And you want those to happen very rapidly. So we monitor your phone systems for in the event anything would happen.
You would think that today is age that the phone system wouldn't meet or be as needed as it is, but people cannot live without the phone system today.
I hear that a lot, actually. It's honestly, communications and unified communications platforms are becoming more increasingly popular because of their new capabilities. And so, you want to make sure that that's being handled properly. And, businesses have sped up their needs, much, much quicker. So, when you need something to change or something happens, it needs to be monitored right away. So we are actually live monitoring all these phone systems. We can, see their uptime. We can make sure that you're fully connected. And if anything happens, if the phone system glitches in any way, we can actually see that in real time. And within 20 to 30 seconds, it will send off alarms in our help desk. And so our help desk can see this physically and address it. So we'll know you're having issues quicker than you're probably going to know you're having issues. And so we're going to call you on that. We're going to make sure everything's okay. And, if you need changes to your phone system, right, 9 times out of 10, we're going to turn those over within the same day. A lot of you call ISPs and you ask, I need to change this, or I want to add lines, or things like that. Or you call your telecom company and say, hey, I want to add this new phone or this new user. And so what do? They're going to send you the contract out. You're going to sign off contract. You're going to get the changes done. You're going to wait a week for your installation, and then they're going to come out. ISP is going to need to put new hardware in your facility, or it turns into a mess. And so 9 times out of 10, we're handling those changes the same day or next day when you put them in.
Now, you touched on a thing called a contract. And a lot of times when they need to add these things, they're actually signing a contract. And the contract is maybe for the next 2 to 3 years that they cannot take back away again for that time.
Correct. So, with us, again, it's very simple. You have your base cost with us. If you want to add phones or change them, you want to add 3 or 4 more phones, you can do that without actually modifying your contract. So as you grow, your user count may go up, but you don't have to re-sign the contract to grow the company or anything like that. So long as you maintain that base with us, everything is, they said, fully covered, fully handled without any problems.
Excellent.
So, with that, we give you unlimited lines, unlimited calling. So we talked a little earlier about, paying for long distance or, things like that. What we didn't talk about is a busy signal and how that can impact your company. So, if you call 2 companies, they're tree companies, right? They're going to help, take down trees. And you call one, you get a busy signal. Are you going to wait for 5 minutes and then call that company back?
No, normally if I get a busy signal on a company that I need their services or I need a service like that, I would actually go on the next one in line that I see in the list and call them. If they answer the phone, pretty much they got my business.
They got your business.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing that we want to make sure doesn't happen to your business. And so we're going to give your business unlimited calling, unlimited lines, so you don't get those busy signals. That missed call, that busy signal call, just cost your company money, cost your company revenue of a new client that was maybe trying to come on board with you or get your services. And so we want to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay?
That's a great thing.
There's many steps we can do, internally, right from the unlimited lines we give you to using call queuing systems and all that kind of stuff. We can make sure that those things don't happen. Okay. And the last one is being able to work from anywhere. And we want to make sure you can work from home. We want to make sure you can work from the office, from around the world, wherever it is. You need to be able to access from anywhere. And so anywhere access is really important. And, like we said before, work from home is becoming increasingly popular. Businesses are now beginning to accept work from home employees. I mean, 2-3 years ago, that wasn't really a thing for the most part. Now it's not abnormal to, work from Pennsylvania and hire someone from New York or Florida or California.
Well, since after the last couple of years, work from home became a norm now. It's now a norm that people know that they don't need the brick and mortar store. to house all their employees, they can actually use a work from home situation, and actually they're getting more productivity over that.
Exactly. And so your telecommunications have to go with that. You don't want to, exclude those employees who work from home from telecommunications. You want to make sure that they have the ability to communicate internally and externally and get those calls from the customers. So, being able to be anywhere is really important in that. Traveling abroad, if you're on vacation, a CEO goes on vacation or whatever, and they still need to get those voicemails, get those calls. They can be in Europe, and you've got voicemail to email. You've got the cell phone app, your iPad.
So do I have to take the phone and put it from my desk and put it in my suitcase, zip up the suitcase, and then take it on the plane with me?
I mean, you can.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. I mean, you can plug it right in your hotel room, set it right next to it, but you don't need to do that.
Good.
You don't need to do that. You can use your cell phone, use your iPad, your laptop with a headset. There are so many different ways of accessing the phone system and all the features within it that you don't need to take that desk phone.
Excellent.
But you can take it if you like.
Okay.
So the last thing is remote office. A lot of businesses are now opening up these remote offices in other parts of the world or even other parts of the country. And you're installing a second phone system and a third phone system. And they don't talk to each other because it's two different types of companies that you're trying to put together. And it creates a mess. There's no unified communications there, right? That breaks unified communication.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of businesses are expanding themselves and they have multiple locations, even if it's in the same city.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't have the same. I can't transfer a call from location A to location B, and that becomes a problem.
That's a big one, actually.
It is. Yes.
That's a very big one. Being able to transfer between offices is one of the most important things that we've talked with people with remote offices that they can't do. That's the number one thing, honestly, that they tell us is they wish they could transfer from office to office. Because you get calls to the wrong office all the time. And you feel weird saying, well, can you hang up the phone and call this number instead, even though we're the same company? And it's to some degree anymore, it's embarrassing. People don't expect to do that. They expect to be transferred to the proper person.
Exactly.
So that's also very important. So, some of the additional features of the phone system, we talked about a lot of the core features. We talked about a lot of the problems and how we can help resolve those problems. But I want to quickly touch on some of the more end user things that help the end users, get through their day-to-day life. And so voicemail to email is a big one. And we have, all your voicemails will come to email that comes with the phone system. And you can see in the email at the time, who it was, when they called, the audio file. You can listen to it on your cell phone, or on your computer, things like that. And then we also include transcription if you want. It's a small additional service for it, and it'll actually transcribe all of those emails or all the voicemails into email. And you can then just physically read it without having to listen to that audio file or play it.
Sometimes it's a lot easier to read a transcription than it is to hit the play button. I mean, that sounds really funny, but it is.
It saves a lot of time. And we've actually seen in a few cases, clients prefer that because it's time saving. They don't have people sitting there listening to all the voicemails. They can quickly read through, grab the notes, copy it into their systems, and away they go. They're not, transcribing, because sometimes they are transcribing the voicemails and typing into client records and things like that.
Right.
In healthcare and vet, so that does help them quite a bit. So, being able to transfer a call to cell phone, we talked about that a little bit earlier. That's becoming a big thing. A shared company directory. This is where, you can take and put all of your contacts in a shared directory and share that with any of the employees. And they'll all have access to that. So if you have a whole bunch of vendors or you have, a bunch of contacts you share internally that you're always looking up the phone number for, or you're sending someone the contact card through Outlook, you can keep that all in a centralized location. That will synchronize to the desk phones, the cell phone, all that kind of stuff.
That's really good for the salespeople out there because they keep a lot of contacts, and usually they need those contacts no matter where they are.
Yes.
They also need to share those contacts with other coworkers that they need to do business with.
Exactly. So that's one way you can streamline some of that. The other thing is an extensive customizable digital receptionist. And digital receptionists can be very, very simple, press 1, press 2, 4, that kind of thing. But they can also be more involved. And depending on your company needs, I've seen receptionists be very complex in multiple menus, or you need to, process credit card info or tie it into your Salesforce or things like that, that we can assist you with that.
Can I ask you questions and it can answer me?
You can.
Wow.
It does actually have the ability to understand voice and communicate that. So, like I said, it's very extensive in what we can do with that. Call logging and reporting, being able to see those calls, get the reporting on the calls, things like that. You're not sure when this person called, or you want to bring up the recording of that call. If you have the call recording turned on, we can easily search and find that information for you. In the event an incident unfortunately would occur, we can also gather all that data for you.
That's what I was about to say. Is I think with businesses today, with the people today, you need to have that confidence that you can actually go back and listen to recordings of conversations that an employee had with a customer. Just in case of, things were not right or
Exactly. And so that's one thing that is comes pre-built in these systems. Queuing and callback. We talked about queuing. If you're a high volume customer, you've got your vet office or you're a medical facility, you've got a lot of calls coming in. We can assist alleviating some of that overflow by handling it through call queuing and callback. So if they're in the queue for 60 seconds or 2 minutes, something like that, they can press a button and it'll actually hold their spot in line and let them drop off the call.
I love that feature. I think that you're on a call and that this is going to be an hour wait.
Yep.
The first time that I hear the receptionist say, we'll hold your place in line, press pound if you'd like to do this, and then it calls me back, and I think that's just like the best thing ever.
It's incredible because you can go about your business. And so, that's a modern feature that a lot of people are looking for. So we've got that. We've got the CRM integration we talked about a little bit with Salesforce, Soho. There's probably about 20 different CRMs that the system's capable of integrating to. And so it can streamline that process. When a call comes in, it'll pop open their customer record automatically. And
actually, it does that here.
Yes. Yeah. We utilize that internally ourselves.
Yeah. It comes right up when a customer calls in and it brings up their company right there. Yeah.
So SMS and texting is another big one. A lot of companies are getting into texting. It's not uncommon to go up to a building and they have a text number there and you text it and it sends you back information. Or, you want to talk directly with someone. So there's this website and Facebook and text integration, and it brings it all into one place. That you can then have your people who are manning, like the receptionist or, a call desk, things like that can handle all that for you. And it just brings it all to one place and you can distribute that out among the employees very easily.
That's nice because there's a lot of use case for that.
Oh, there is. And it's going to be becoming ever more popular. I think texting and website and Facebook integration, things like that are going to become a lot more popular in the next year or two. And so we'll see a lot more people wanting that. And last thing I want to touch on is the Office 365 integration. And so we can set up a single sign-on where they can use their Office 365 credentials to sign into the phone system. And it can do contact synchronization and things like that. So there's a few additional features there. And there's just some of the ones we want to touch on. There's so many more features in this phone system, that we can go over on a personal level. If you schedule an on-site demo with us, or you have questions about if it can or can't do things like that, absolutely, you can give us a call, and we'd be more than happy to see exactly what we can do to make the system work for you. So at this point, we are going to begin a demonstration of the phone system. And so we're going to show off a couple things. And so the topics we're going to cover is the desk phone layout. What does it look like? And we're going to dial a call from it. We're going to access the voicemail and kind of show you a few of the real basic things. And then we're going to get into the web app, the desktop app, and we're going to actually install the desktop app so you can see just how easy that is, as well as web conferencing and showing you kind of how we did this. So let's go ahead and get prepped for that. Okay, so a little bit here. This is our phone. Okay, we got the basics here for the phone. We've got a couple lines over here. Let me light this up so we can actually see it here. So you can see here we've got our lines, and we have some shared parking, which is a big difference from what a lot of companies are used to with the line presence. Very easy adaptation. for a lot of customers to understand the differences there, and very easy use case. And we have our voicemail up here. So if we access our voicemail, okay. So this keeps everything secure, tight security with the phone system. We want to make sure that no one can access your voicemail unless you want them to. It's as things move forward, there is security that needs to be met, and a lot of people are concerned with that. So I'm going to go ahead and disable the PIN for now, rather than type it in. And let me access our voicemail again here. Okay. Option number 8 is where you can record your voicemail message. Okay. This is a personalized message you can modify. Most phone systems only ever give you one of those to actually have that message available to you to use for any of your incoming calls that you might have missed. This phone system actually allows you to have a number of them based on the state of your presence in the phone system. And so you can actually upload different recordings for different states. So if you're going away for a little bit, right, you can have the, hey, I'm out of the office message, right? How often do you re-record your voicemail? And it's annoying almost to have to constantly re-record it.
Well, it is. I mean, if I'm going to go on to a trip, take my vacation, I'm going to have to tell them, that I'm not just on the office. I'm going to be out for a while, and to call the office if you need emergency help or need help.
And then you come back and you re-record it, and you lose your original recording. Well, with this system, you can have multiple recordings, and you can have your away recordings, and I'm in the office but away from my desk recordings, things like that. So it makes it a little bit easier to have to not rebuild everything every time.
That does sound a lot easier.
It is, quite so. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to make a quick call. And so, dialing out, there's no 9, there's no 1. You don't have to press anything special in order to dial. And that did not go through. I wonder why that didn't go through. Phone is connected. Not sure. I'll have to look into that a little bit later. Okay. So I'm entirely sure why that didn't go through. I was going to demonstrate a call to cell phone. We'll have to forego that one right now. But you make the call, you press the button on the center, you let it time out after a couple seconds. It makes the call. There's no 9, there's no 1, there's no special stuff you have to do. 911 access, another very important thing to understand. And you can directly dial 911 without any issues there. And everything will be handled straight through. And while you're on the phone, you can quickly, by pressing this button right here, so transfer button, transfer that cell phone we were talking about earlier. And so it's very, very simple to utilize some of those features. The desk phone itself, no different than any other phone out there. We really just consider it an endpoint phone. Your features, your special features, things like that, those are all going to come through the web interface. Okay, and so that's what we're going to go over next is the web interface and how that works, and what we can do with all that. So this is the web interface. This is our admin portal, and you can see here we've got a couple of us in here on this demo phone system we put together, and we can go in here, quickly change anyone's name, their email address, things like that, their password for accessing. And quickly handle all this on the back end for you very efficiently. We can see all the phones that are online. We can handle all your inbound routing and outbound routing, things like that. If you have special business needs that certain people need to call with a certain outgoing phone number, things like that, that's where we can handle all of that kind of stuff. So we're not going to go into a whole lot of this portal, this one here specifically today. We want to focus more on the client portal. This is your customer experience. This is what you're going to see and be in most of the time. And so, this has the web app like here. And so you can have this on a desktop. You can have this on a laptop. You can access this from anywhere simply by going to your portal link. Okay. And after you sign in, you'll have access to directly call anyone in the company here. So you'll see all the people in the company listed. You can call them, you can video chat with them, you can text message them, and this works with both internal and external text messaging. So if they actually have their mobile phone in here, you would actually be able to text their cell phone.
And we know that everybody carries their cell phone.
Yes. So this makes it a little bit easier for you to kind of handle your texting as well. Brings it internally on the business. And then also there's contacts. So you can add a new contact via this web portal. And so if you click the little contacts button to show your contacts, you'll be able to see all the other people that you've put in here and be able to dial them directly as well. And so by default, in the upper right-hand corner here, this little phone icon, this is your dialer. And so this acts just like your desk phone, okay? You can type in a number from here, and it will dial that phone number.
With all this, why do I even need a desk phone?
We're finding more and more that people are preferring to utilize what these are called soft phones, to utilize soft phones like the web interface, like the cell phone, rather than their desk phone. In fact, a lot of our own employees utilize a headset with the desk phone or with the PC phone instead.
Seems like we almost have more available to us at our fingertips.
Yes. I mean, software-driven phone systems are much more efficient at being able to handle, all your day-to-day operations than your desk phone is. So we'll get rid of that little caller right there, and we will move on to chatting here. And so, like I talked earlier, we have the chat back and forth, and so I can see here that there's a conversation, and we're logged in as Ken right now. And so there's a conversation he started with me. And so we could actually go back and forth talking here. We can send files to each other. We can video chat with each other. And you would use this in place of Teams. There's a lot of companies that have Teams, and Teams is a great solution. We ourselves are integrating Teams, a lot of people, but for a company that doesn't have Teams or isn't interested in that, or they don't have Microsoft licensing, this would be a great answer for that alternative use and making sure you still have that ability to quickly talk back and forth with people.
I think that is great, especially for companies that are security centric and don't want to allow, let's say they had a lot of employees working from home, or we went back home and started working, that to be able to still keep in touch with all their coworkers.
Exactly.
And that's a very big deal that you have to do, that people need to feel that they're still part of the company.
And that's the whole purpose of unified communications. So the next thing we're going to talk about here is the meeting solution. And this is going to get kind of weird because the way we're presenting here through the meeting, we'll just flip off the webcam for now. But you'll see here, this is how you can actually start generating meetings. And so this is the meeting we're presenting to you. This is how you'd actually start with your own. And you can come right in here and you can start a meeting right now. Just by doing this little quick meeting right here. And every user has their own quick meeting. They have an individual link, which is just their name that you can send to anyone and they can join in on that.
Can they do multiple meetings at the same time?
Absolutely. And so there's even a built-in scheduler here. And so if we click on meeting here, okay, this is going to be all the meetings in the phone system. Okay, you'll see everyone else's meeting and you'll be able to schedule these meetings. So if I click later, I can then select a date and time to schedule these meetings. I can choose whether it's audio only or if I want to do a video or a webinar like we're doing right now. I can give some notes, anything to prepare, or, things to be aware of for this meeting. And then down here, I can add everyone I need to that meeting. And so I can add all their email addresses. This is going to send everything out. And if we do a 365 integration for you, it'll actually send everything through 365. And it'll automatically add it to your calendar. It'll keep track of all those invites to the meeting. And so you'll know, you'll have all those very similar features that you get with Teams, and you have it right in here.
And it's all in-house.
Exactly. Okay. So again, very simple to create and utilize these meetings. Calls. You'll be able to see all your incoming, outgoing, missed calls, things like that. The time that they happen, how long were you on the phone with them. And if the call was recorded, you'll actually be able to access that recording from within this interface as well.
Nice.
Exactly. And the last thing here is a panel. This panel is all the current calls going on in the company. You'll be able to see exactly, how many people on the phone. And a lot of times we want this to be a manager type solution.
Right. So can we give access to certain people, like just the management, so not everybody can get to this page?
Exactly. We want, so we can determine a certain set of people that have access to this and others who don't have access to this. Some companies may want everyone to have access. That's really going to be an internal policy, but this allows us to have that granular control to grant certain users accesses to areas that for managers or need to have a little bit more involvement in seeing what's going on there. So then down here we have our contacts, which again we can list all of our contacts down here, and this is a decentralized contact list. So this particular contact list is personal. We talked about that company directory earlier. Okay, those will show up as well, but then the user will also have personal contacts they can put in here.
Now, when we put a contact in here, where else does it go?
So these contacts will show up on the cell phone. They'll show up on the desktop app as well, and in here. So if we click these little 3 arrows again, we'll get voicemail, and this is where all your voicemails will show up. If you have transcriptions turned on, you'll see all your transcriptions here as well. And one of the favorite features is you'll actually be able to see all your voicemails in this screen. You can select them all if you've read through them and you no longer need them, and just delete them easily. You don't have to go through the desk phone and listen to every voicemail and delete them one by one after confirming which one they are. You can very quickly get rid of those.
Sometimes it takes so much extra time doing it on the phone.
You can save quite a bit of time doing them through here.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last thing I'm going to do here real quick is I want to show you how quick it is to install the actual desktop application. And to do that, I'm going to click on Apps, Desktop App, and I'm going to install it. So once it's downloaded, it's a real quick installation. Okay, and then once it's installed, and I'm actually going to, because I don't think I'm sharing this part out. Let me just add something here real quick. Okay, here we go. We're going to allow you to actually see the full installation here. So here's the app we just installed. Okay, it took about 5 or 6 seconds to install that. And then we're going to click this one little provision button. When we click this, it's going to automatically provision that desktop. We're done.
That was quick.
Yeah, the app is done. It's on the desktop. So now you no longer have to use the web interface. That exact same feature set that we went over before is now shared right here. And so this will be on every time you come in the morning. It's on the computer. It's up. It's ready to go. And this will even tie in to your desk phone. So if you want to use the app will pair with the desk phone. You can dial through the app. You can click this button. You see a desktop app. If you have a desk phone, you'll see your desk phone's there. And then you can dial from here, and it automatically dials your desk phone.
So I can make that choice.
Exactly. You can choose where you want to call from, but this allows you to have a little bit more of that centralization to do some of those things.
Excellent.
And so, again, same exact interface that we just went through. It's just an application on the desktop version. It'll start with the computer every time. And the cell phone app experience is very similar to this as well. You have some of these same features on the cell phone. You can schedule meetings. You can join meetings from the cell phone. You have your contacts, all your missed calls, your voicemails, all that kind of stuff right in that same app on the cell phone.
And I think having it on the cell phone, I think with a company, if you're having to call a customer and you're calling them through the app, you're using the phone number of the company, not your personal cell phone.
Correct.
Because everybody today has caller ID. And when you call from your normal cell phone, you're passing that number on to everybody. But being able to use it through the company's normal phone system and pass that number along, I think it's a lot better.
It is. I mean, people are hesitant to give out their cell phone numbers all the time, to everyone, and you have your cell phone floating everywhere, because then you're available on off hours and people can call you, and that's fine for some people, but some people may not want that. And so this gives you the ability to hide your cell phone number, but still use it to make those company calls.
Excellent.
So we find a lot of people are really enjoying that as well. So that is just about it. We're going to wrap everything up here. we went through some of the demo on the phone system, how the web interface works, how you can make a conference call, how our services can assist, kind of bringing your business into the next age of unified communications, and, everything we can do for you. So, like I said, we are PAconnect. We are your single IT source for all business IT solution needs. So let us handle your virtual CIO position, and we're going to bring your business into the future for everything you need.
And we're here, if you want to call us, make a personal appointment.
Exactly. So if you have any questions about the phone system itself, things we can do for you, any advanced features you're looking for that you might not have now that you want to, look into, absolutely go ahead and send us an email, give us a call, and schedule your demo personal today.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, until next time, like I said, I'm Jesse.
I'm Ken.
And we'll see you then.
Bye.